It's Robert Hansen. How are you? Welcome to our Friday night. This is before I even get into tonight, just to remind you, this is the last Friday night until October. Beginning next week, we are going on Sunday nights at 7:30, beginning with Sunday night, May the 7th, where we're doing an evening regarding Mother's Day and mothers. Anyway, if you're coming back here for a visit, I appreciate you guys being a part of the evening. If you're coming in brand new and this is the first time you're coming to this site, thank you so very, very much. It's a pleasure to meet you. Please feel free. And by the way, we would love to know where you guys are from. If you're coming from local, if you're out of state, wherever you are, if you'd like to ask a question tonight, please feel free to do it. I'll try to get to as many as I can in the time we have. Tonight's big topic is about angels, the angelic realms, divine healers, and spirit guides. The main thrust tonight, though, is going to be on the angelic realms. So I'd like to begin with all of you tonight. So settle in. It's going to be a great ride. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you guys. When I decided to do this topic, I was caught between the psychic spiritual end of this and what typically is referred to as the religious aspect of this. So I'm treading on a little bit of a tempered water here because I don't want, or has no intention, of course, of offending anyone. But based upon my work as a medium, based upon my work for 20 plus years, I've had many, many experiences along this angelic realms in terms of the angels and exactly what really, really goes on. So let's begin with that. The word angels, not the definition of it, but angels have been talked about not only in the Judeo-Christian or the Christian culture for centuries, it was also part of other cultures worldwide. Many of you may know I spent significant time in Japan. I spent time in different parts of the Orient. I've spent time in different parts of this great country of the USA, Native American cultures, and so on and so on and so on. And the word angel comes up. For some people, it doesn't come up as angelic or the angels. They may call them divine healers, light gods, light beings, all of that stuff. But fundamentally, what they're pointing to, what they're describing, is the movement of something beyond the physical phenomena that manifests to express itself in some way to the human condition. Through the history of man, through the beginning of mankind, one of the big parts of being a human being is that we have been born with fear. We do. We have a fear. We learn to be frightened as we move along. It just seems to be part of the natural process of being a human animal. If you see an animal in the wild and they hear the crack of thunder or the sound of, or the flash of lightning across the sky, they scurry, they run, they go under shelters, they go under rocks. Human beings do the same thing. We take shelter from the storm, we call it, and we look for some form of comfort, whether it be the comfort of a tree branch, whether it be the comfort of a cave, or in the thinking beings, the comfort of having the idea or the sense that we are being insulated and protected from what we cannot see, from what we cannot touch. And over the history of mankind, the idea of deities, gods, God's servants, angels, seraphims, cherubs, archangels, divine healers, mystic masters, all of these variations are pointing to that which reverberates with us past the world of what we call temporal or physical phenomena. I have watched, I have heard, I've looked at, I've seen in pictures, I've seen images in Europe and images here in this country of drawings. The great Italian masters, French masters have drawn images of angels. I happen to be a Catholic kid. If you go to my church, you're going to see images of angels, whether they be in statues, whether they be on stained glass windows. People pray to them. Some people have even given the angels over an evolution of time to give them names. For example, in the archangels, you have Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, various angelic names. They even separate them into archangels and angels and so on. It even goes as far is to talk about angels that are in the heavenly spheres, and then it even falls into the realm of where angels have fallen to earth, which sometimes they are called dark angels, or angels that no longer are in the good favor of what we would call the presence of God. In the old-time Bible stuff, the fallen angels were ones that displeased what they believed to be the Godhead or the God figure. They actually confronted God, saying, I am more superior. Some of you, I am sure, have heard the word Lucifer. Lucifer is the name for the angel of light, considered to be God's greatest friend, God's greatest ally, God's greatest angel that was ever created in the heavens. And that angel felt, according to the Bible and according to Scripture, that angel felt that had a right to take on God, to be even with God, even superior to God, questioning God's great power, questioning God's great grace. And after much compassion and much frustration, the Father, God, sent this angel to earth and cast him into darkness, as it was called, sent him down away from the other angels. In doing so, it is written, of course, in certain teachings, that the angel Lucifer then got his army of other angels to come with him, other kind of bad angels, and they kind of control the earthly realms. And this is where words like temptation and greed and influence of dark acts, all of that is kind of suggested that they are done by angels. And for some people, the angels have remorphed even again, and they have fallen not only from being angelic, but they also go even deeper into the depths of the angelic realms, where they later get on and get called the demons. The demons are considered to be the apocalypse, the acolytes of what many people would refer to as Satan or the devil or the ultimate dark side. So since the beginning of time, man has always battled, when I say man, of course I mean men and women, have always battled this conflict between good and bad. If you ever saw the movie, which is going back a long time ago, the great movie called The Exorcist, it was a movie, and it described basically, or it tried to portray the influence of the devil coming through a little young girl, and the attack of the devil, or defending from the devil through the, in this particular movie, through the Catholic priests. And there was this confrontation between good and evil. This is kind of the culture, the nature of the angels. Now, I'm going to shift off of this a little bit to get it to a little bit more of a upfront personal look. In the angelic realms, it can kind of subdivide. Some people like to call them divine healers, divine masters. I know some people may debate and argue the differences. I'm not here to really do that and break them up even further. What I'm trying to get across is the angelic realms, that which is in the angel world, let's call it. I'm going to put them under one box, just for this short conversation. I do know that many of you who follow the angels and kind of are angel practitioners even, they come out and say there are many angels by name, and the angels actually have different jobs. Some angels are only, their only function, their only purpose is to worship the divine. Other angels come as healers. Other angels come as protectors, or what we often call guardian angels. Some angels, there are some angels that actually come in. I took a note on this before. They come as messengers. They come as protectors. They bring us strength. They bring endurance. They come as the healing lights. Many, many subdivisions. These subdivisions have been made because the human being has subdivided their particular struggles in life. One person might say, I am scared of this. Another person says, I don't want my child to be hurt when they go to sleep at night. Another person says, I am dealing with an illness. I need an angel to come help me. Some people say, I need angels to help me worship at my local church, and on and on and on. What I'm driving at is this idea of the angels, the idea of breaking these angels down, is a manifestation of human thought which is driven through human conflict. And it makes it very comforting and very appealing, and it really does, makes it very appealing to have all of these separate angels to line up for these different causes, which is very human in its thinking. Now, I want to get something straight with you guys. In the human phenomena, when human beings are born, right, when we are born, and then eventually we die, we eventually pass over, we have all of us, every single creature, everything that is living, everything that is breathing, everything that is a manifestation of what we call the beloved or the one life, whether it be a little tiny bug on the ground, a great eagle in the sky, my beautiful little granddaughter, my wife, my kids, your families, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We are all an expression of life itself. And we are in this flow. And when life is released, which we call death, when the temporal phenomena ends, this, what commonly is referred to as the soul, moves. It moves. It doesn't move away. It simply opens up to the peace and the wisdom of that which it did not understand in the constrictions in the physical phenomena. As you guys, I'm sure, know, most people, almost just about everyone I've met, and processes their world through what they think and what they feel. That's it. They come through their head, they come through their heart. The big two, thought, feel. That's how it is. And if their thoughts are positive, their thoughts are upbeat, they feel good, their world is great. If they feel bad thoughts, negative thoughts, driven by negative thoughts, fear, anxiety, guilt, all of those thinkings, then their world appears to them to be dark, right? Connected to this is the movement of emotion. What I think translates into a reaction. My reaction says, I feel this way. Whether it be driven by self or whether it be driven by an outside influence, it creates a feeling. Now, when the human form crosses over, when we die, the essence of life itself, what we refer to as the soul, shifts. It comes out of body and it shifts. Depending upon its level of consciousness, depending upon what some people would call its level of enlightenment, that soul will either expand and radiate, or it will stay more confined. It will stay kind of boxed in a little bit until it kind of clears up some of the misunderstandings that it carries with it. I want to tag on to this in a minute, but for those of you that are just coming in, those that are brand new, I want to welcome you. If you're coming in first tonight for the first time, thank you very, very much. If you're coming back to repeat from the last time, once again, thank you for joining us. I'll be taking questions here in just a few minutes, but I want to address this because this is really, really important. So when a human being physically dies, or when an animal physically dies, the level of consciousness, depending upon that, part of that consciousness can be expanded based upon our efforts, quote unquote, in the human form. But anyone that has really arrived at a state of clarity, true consciousness, true expansion of consciousness, will always say it is a gift of grace. It is something that just happens to you. It is not something that you can ask to have happen to you. If you could ask to have it happen to you, you could simply say a few prayers and boom, you'd wake up enlightened. You would be some kind of angelic person. I'd like to take a few questions in a minute, but I want to make sure we're on the same page here because we're getting into this topic. So when we are talking about levels of consciousness, there are certain levels of consciousness that are very clear. They recognize that they're a temporary form. They recognize that thought and emotion is just a limitation of the human experience. It is a temporal state, and they see past that. This was the great teachings of the Christ figure, of the Buddha figure, the great Krishnamurti, Ramana Maharshi, all of the great gray black elk from the Native Americans. All of them were pointing to here that there is more besides that which we can see, right? In those unique cases, some of them, not all of them, but a high percentage of them, remain attached to the human condition out of compassion. They witness the suffering, they witness the confusion, and these are the guys that become your spirit guides. They were born, physical death arrived, and they continue to guide and lead us towards that experience which illuminates us. The angelic realms are different. The angel forms were never born in the physical phenomena. They were never born in the physical phenomena. They don't have father angels and mother angels. They are a manifestation of the eternal one life. As an expression of this one life, we often say angels are sent, angels are given to us to help guide us in this worldly experience. So yes, it is absolutely true that there is an energy and essence. I often tell people when I talk about this topic, you have either an angel image, which is your idea of what you think an angel should be, including its name, its appearance. Some people say angels are gigantic, other people say angels are little. Some people say angels carry swords, other people say angels carry flowers. They even go on as far as to give them names, jobs, all of that stuff, right? I come from a slightly different place. I'd like to take a question, please, if you don't mind. So let me just take one, and let me just do this, please. Okay. The question is, are we all assigned angels or guides at our birth? Michelle is asking this question, angel guides at birth. This is a tricky one, so I want to be very, very clear with you. It is very comforting, psychologically, to want to believe when we come into this world through our mom's belly that we have been given guides and angels to begin with. Yes and no. The idea that we have guides and angels at birth is a movement based upon the need for safety and security in the human thought. We all seek safety. Don't make any mistake about it. And to cultivate that sense of safety, we include the angels and the guides and other things. However, since there is a manifestation of life, the continuation of life, which I am, which you are, which my kids are, everybody, it's a manifestation of life. That which has sent life to the world, that which has sent life to the world, in the light of the world, always sends with it the manifestations of the Creator, which people often will say are the angels or the angelics. Do you understand? So what we're saying is, it absolutely is true, but what people want to feel, Angel Raphael, as an example, or Archangel, has been assigned to my soul. Saint Michael, for example, has been assigned to law enforcement. Those images, those ideas are very powerful, very comforting, but you must please understand they are coming from thoughts of other people. They have been described, they have been taught to you. One of the things that is crucial is, do you actually feel, can you truly sense past what you want to believe is true if there are angels about? So to answer Miss Michelle's question, absolutely, the angelics come through. They absolutely come through. However, they do not come in the same way as though there's a checklist up with a clipboard. This is your angel, that's your angel. This, you're not going to get 2 angels, you're going to get 4 angels. It doesn't work like that. But go to bed tonight knowing that from the day those babies are born in your life, the angels are around them. Don't get confused what happens at birth, whether it be an infant death passing, whether it be a baby that passes in the tummy, whether it be a baby that thrives and goes on to become a great scholar. The essence of it, not the idea of it, the essence of it is absolutely true. There is an angelic realm that surrounds us. What makes it difficult is when you start putting them in boxes. That becomes the challenge, because it's to the exclusion of some and the demand of the others. It is to the exclusion of some and the demand of the others. I'm going to do another question here to try to help you guys a little bit. Donna asks, do I believe that angels walk on earth as humans? That's the question she's asking me. Do I believe that? Let me say this first. I really am not one that falls into what we commonly refer to belief systems, and I'll tell you why. Beliefs are always based on no facts. Belief is based on no facts. If it was a fact, we could say it is an absolute fact that angels are here. It's a fact. Now, there are people in spiritual practice, psychic practice, religious practice, that they'll get furious, I mean, livid, if you don't agree with that. I've met them. They get crazy. And I say, why are you so hard on defending it? No one is attacking. We're just asking a question. What is the proof that you're seeing an angel in the corner of your home? What's the proof? Well, I see it, I can believe it, and all that. No problem. If that's for you and it makes you feel comfortable, please go with it. It's not a problem. But if you're, as an outsider looking at it, you have to ask yourself, is this person either a little cuckoo, or is there something they're witnessing that others can't process? Now, that happens to me all the time as a medium. You know, people tell me, this medium stuff is a bunch of baloney. Well, in my opinion, I think in some cases that certainly is true. I mean, there are certainly people out there that are pretenders and they just want to believe they're psychics or something and they really can't produce it. And then there are people who are legitimately gifted. I may fall into that box a little bit. And they can sit in front of somebody and describe a story about someone that passed on. And the family says, oh my God, nobody knows that my son fell out of a hot air balloon in Nevada. And you just told me that. Holy Christmas, how can that happen? Because I received something which cannot be interpreted through the vehicle of thought. When I'm reading, it's not through the vehicle of thought. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen next in a reading. I have no idea what's coming at me. No idea. Once you start thinking about what's going to happen in a reading, the reading is over. There's no more reading. Then it's just your imagination gone wild, and you're trying to figure out something to tell the guests because you're kind of in a jam and you're not getting anything, so you start making up stuff. It's similar with the angels. It really is. When people really receive angel energy, really feel them, really sense them, there's an interaction that occurs. And the angel will transmit, not only for you personally, but will transmit to you another process in which you can identify it for others. Now, the angels do not manifest under normal conditions in any human conditions. They do not. They do not. They do not. In the same way that a human being, let's say with all respect, let's say someone's sister passes away and the other sister just had a baby, and the family says, well, the sister that died is coming back into the soul of the newborn baby, and they want to believe this because it makes them feel better, because it's such a heartbreak to lose one sister. They want to believe that the other sister is there. Are the genetics there and all that? Yeah, of course. They look alike, they sound alike, they act alike. Yeah, of course. But it's not working on a spiritual soul level. I don't tell those people no. It makes them feel better. I don't get into it. Unless they ask me, then I'll be honest with them, which I always try to be. But the bottom line is, when you physically pass on, when you physically die, you continue to grow into a new level of consciousness without your physical phenomena. You're free of all of the suffering, all of that worry, all of that illness, all of that ache, all of that addiction, all of that murder. That's all gone. You're free of all of that. What you do take, though, is your level of consciousness, meaning how you interpret this beautiful earth we've been given, this treasure house of life that we've been given. And sadly, many people see it as a dark place because this and this are not clear. They're called living in darkness, right? So, but the angels, which are representatives, quote unquote, of the one life, an expression of God's grace, an expression of God's love, completely surround all living creatures. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. Could there be a unique human being that carries that expression through them? Absolutely, Miss Donna. That can happen. Yes, it can happen. But it's very, very unusual. What we often say is certain people act like an angel because we have the idea of a good angel when we describe it, right? They don't say they act like a dark angel. They say they act like a demon. Oh, this guy's a real blah, blah, blah. It's a demonized guy. It's an evil guy. It's a dark guy, right? They don't go to a dark angel kind of a thing. So the answer to your question is yes, there is absolutely some human beings, and most of them, quite honestly, Miss Donna, you won't even know it. There's just a presence about them. There's a compassion to them. There's a wisdom to them. There's a deep understanding in them that is absolutely beautiful, and you say, boy, it feels like an angel. Okay? Now let me get to another question here. This young lady, Miss Susan, wants to know if there is a difference between archangels and angels. This is a tricky one, and I know some of my angel friends and some of my Christian friends are going to be bouncing around the room on this one, but I want to help you. One of the things that human beings do is we tend to separate. Example, and this, again, please be very gentle with me on this because I'm walking on paper thin here. There are people that say this religion is better than that. We have the inside track, you don't, and it always separates people. The human mind does this. Anytime there is separation, there is conflict, period. Anytime there is separation, there is conflict. So some human beings have said, you know what? There's not just angels, there are super duper angels, and then there are angels that are below that. Well, the cherubs, the seraphims, and so on and so on. And they separate them. They also do it when they discuss enlightenment. They say there is this consciousness, there's a higher consciousness, there's a lower consciousness, there's a lower consciousness, there's a subconsciousness, all of that stuff. And it's all not true. It's not true. There is consciousness and the clarity at which you perceive it in. It is not like an elevator ride where you go up and down. It is a manifestation. Consciousness is a manifestation that occurs when the attachment to thinking ends. And you can see things differently than you did prior to being caught up in the spider web of thought. Got it? Consciousness is all-embracing. Everything falls under the umbrella of consciousness, or what we would commonly call your experiences. Experiences that you have through thought, experiences that you have through emotion, yes, through the chemistry, through the touch, through the scent, through the feel, through the taste, through all of it. There are experiences that we reject. There are experiences that we want to control. Why? Because these don't make us feel good, and these do. Right? So you want to have these experiences, but you don't want to have those experiences. But they're all experiences. And what makes them good or bad is your point of view. It is the same phenomena. It really is the same phenomena in which certain people say there's archangels and lower angels and so on and so forth. If you feel comforted by that and you kind of feel that there's different levels, that's fine. That's fine. The archangels are considered to be the master angels, the superior ones, the big guys on the block, the most powerful ones. And the other ones are kind of servants to them. They're delegated by the archangels. They move into different phenomena. I want to share this with guys also with you. When people say, for example, that they know what the will of the angels are, or when they say they know what it's like on the other side, or they'll talk about what people do on the other side, or they know what heaven is like because they've seen it. Those kind of comments, right? We have to really take a very, very close look at them. We really do. I mean, unless you're hypnotized or unless you're so totally moved by an absolute belief system, an absolute trust system in something, then this conversation is going to just fall to the side. Because you're just going to say, I believe it this way, I believe it that way, and that's the end of it. We're not moving off of square one. There is no intention here on any level to break through any of those belief systems and faith systems. I'm not here to in any way attack you or try to give you a hard time. What I'm trying to do is ask you to look past the boundaries of belief. Can we do that? I mean, when we were little kids, look, when we were little children, we believed, quote, in Santa Claus, we believed in Aladdin and the lamp, and then you began to realize that certain beliefs were just kind of silly. They fell into superstition and all of this. Please understand, the evolution of angels, whether it be in the Judeo-Christian culture, the European cultures, the Oriental culture, I don't care where it comes from, the African cultures, these evolved 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. They're not new age. They come out of a time of superstition, out of fear, of witchcraft, mysticism, all of that stuff. And some of it has remained part of the human phenomena in thought and in emotion. And it's actually practiced. Statues are made, images are made. When someone, as I shared a little bit while back, they have an image of, let's say, St. Michael with a shield and sword, or they have an image of an angel carrying flowers, or they have an angel guarding someone walking over a bridge, like the great picture of guardian angels taking care of kids. That image, like any other artist, is a reflection of what that particular artist is imagining. That artist might say, I saw this angel, I am drawing what I saw, as though they're perceiving it externally. The truth of it is, they are seeing it through the window of their own thoughts and their own imagination. That's what they're doing. I asked you guys this at the beginning, and I'm going to try to get it to you again. Let me know where you're coming from, guys. Let me know where you're coming from. If you're coming from the great state of Montana, you're down in Florida, or up in California, let me know. Let your friends know. Invite them. Next Sunday night on May 7th, 7:30. We're doing a big night on mothers. Okay? So please, let us know where you're coming from. We want to help you. We want to encourage you to come. We want to work this whole kind of process around you guys so you can really enjoy it. And we're picking up all different topics coming up. We got some great stuff coming up. Some of it's a little tough on suicide and murder. Others are coming up on some people have asked my son Bob to come back. That'll be happening at the end of the summer. We're going to have special guests. We're going to talk about how I evolved as a medium, how I personally interpret and do my work, how do I prepare for my practice, all of that kind of stuff. So that's coming up. Okay, but let's get back to this, which is most important. So in the angelic realms, it's also asked, can people pray or call to their angels? Please listen. When we isolate a particular prayer to a particular end, it is like shooting an arrow at a very specific target. We want to believe that that arrow has been shot and it has hit dead center bullseye to the angel, to the saint, to the loved one that has passed on. That's what we want to believe. Otherwise, basically, you will say to yourself, I don't know what the heck I'm praying for, because it never seems like my prayers are answered. Some people will say, of course, to that question, well, your prayers were answered, and the answer is no, which means prayers are a yes and no thing. Incorrect. Incorrect. Prayers are never a negotiation. Never a negotiation. Prayers are a reflection of complete surrender to the love and will of God. It is often stated in some circles, Father, thy will, not mine, be done. In Buddhist studies, it is a complete surrendering to the teachings of the Buddha. No hesitation, no pause. And whatever comes, comes. It is the same with the angelics. They move around not to help you win the lottery and not to stop you from having a car crash. I know there are people that claim angels have rescued people. I understand that. I do. I understand it. And I assure you, in some very, very rare cases, but definitely there are cases where there has been extraordinary angelic influence. There has. Here's the deal, though. The angelic influence is moved through the person, where the person is responding, reacting, protecting, guiding, guarding themselves and others in what appears to be heavenly sent. And it is. But you yourselves, and please listen, you guys are part of the heavenly experience personally. Do you not see, perhaps you don't, that you are heavenly sent? You are an expression of God's grace. You are an expression of God's love. You are an expression of the divine. You are your own divine healer. Just to go into, this is not Bible stuff, but just to get into the Bible a little bit, there was a fellow by the name of Jesus. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. He was a young Jewish scholar. He was teaching. He was a young Rebbe, a young rabbi. He was running around in a particular part of the Mideast, in that area around Nazareth, Galilee. He was doing his work, Bethlehem, that whole area. And he came upon some sick people. And the sick people would petition him, say, please, please, I'm sick. I'm so sick. I have leprosy. I have this. I have that. And they would be healed. This is what was written down by people that saw it, that witnessed it, that heard it, whatever the version might be. Some people will argue against it. Some people say it's true. I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to do Bible studies with you guys. But the Christ did say to those people, go and rise. It is your faith that has healed you. He withdrew himself from the healing process and said, look, it is within you that this has been done. Now people say, what was the faith in? Jesus was still walking around as a young Jewish teacher. He hadn't manifested yet through his resurrection and the ascension and the whole spiritual phenomena that gave evolution to the Christian traditions. This was pre that. What was he talking about? What he was talking about was the complete surrender, or total faith that within that person, within you, is the capacity to heal. When we talk about healing, some people say, well, my son has cancer, or my dad's got Alzheimer's, or like my father passed away from that, or my mother had a form of an infection, and we prayed and we did things. Not to heal my mother's body. I mean, if it occurred, it would have been a miracle on earth. It would have been on the front page of every newspaper. She was so sick, and there was no way she was coming back from this, so we knew it. So what did we pray for? We prayed for my mother's essence to be received. In other words, for my mother's essence to completely release itself into the faith that she would join completely the angelics and all those that love her. That's what we prayed for. That process gets held back when fear, guilt, worry, and doubt are there. You see? I'd like to take a few more questions. Let me see one, if I can get one for you. Oh, we have one coming up. We'll get one. We'll get one coming up. It's the people that are helping me here a little bit. There's one on its way. But I want to continue with this. So when we're talking about angels, and if you want to call out to your angels, my suggestion, and this is just my own suggestion, is not to pinpoint a specific angel. Because the angel you think in here that you have decided, or some outsider has told you to pray to, or some book has told you to pray to, is where you're headed. Right? That's because you think that's what you need, based upon you or what someone has told you. You become kind of a servant of what they say to you. My suggestion is to be still and to breathe and to relax and just open your heart to the angels themselves. And the correct angel with the right vibration, the right tone, will absolutely manifest for you. And you'll get a sense of peace, a sense of ease, and you'll get what we commonly call wisdom. You will suddenly seem to know what you didn't know before. I'm not talking about math problems in college. I'm not referring to figuring out mathematics suddenly. I'm not referring to that. What I'm talking about is saying you come from this great fear, and all of a sudden you say, I don't know why. I just feel different. I feel peaceful. We're doing the best we can with my body. I understand I'm only temporary. Illness is arriving. I get it. And yet I know on a deepest level in my core, I'm not trying to talk myself into it. I know it like I love my children. I know that love. It's the same kind of a love. I know everything will be okay. That is not me alone. That is not me alone. That is the vibration of the angelics coming to me like this, in harmony with my guides who are living people, and they come to flood that which is troubled, that which is suffering. They respond to it like this. They come to flood, they come in, they come in, they come in, they come in, and as a result of that, they help the individual who has complete faith. Now please, and I caution this with you guys, okay? I'm not talking about religious faith. So please, I'm not wandering there. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm talking about faith is the deep sense of intimate trust in the resonance of God's presence and light. Whatever you want to determine God to be to you, that's a personal thing. That's a personal thing. I'm not here to talk about God and all that stuff. That's not personal. Everyone's got their own relationship with the divine, as I have and you guys do. But as I said about 15, 20 minutes ago, each one of you guys, you are the essence of love itself. Otherwise, you would not have been given the gift of creation. I was talking about this morning to somebody, and I want you to follow this. Some of you may know, I don't know if you heard the story, but probably you have, about the Garden of Eden. You had Adam and Eve, and they took a bite out of the apple, and they were cast into darkness, right? Adam and Eve were given an opportunity to be in paradise, meaning complete enlightenment. They had total enlightenment, total peace. Angels to the left of them, angels to the right of them, the grace of God around them. Everything was beautiful, no fear. They stood naked. They didn't even care about it. They were just in a natural state. What shows up is the serpent, which was their ego, which is what the serpent represents, will, their will. They get whisper in the ear, take a bite of the apple, which is temptation, which also becomes the symbol of evil, a la Snow White, the poisoned apple. They take a bite of that, and they are cast down, and they fall to earth, where they became ashamed, right? They lost heaven and came what we would call to earth, or a place of sorrow and suffering. That suffering caused by this whole egoic fear, anxiety, mine, give me stuff. And as a result of that, God said, no more. Now you're going to pay the price for this stuff. And it's been going on ever since. As a matter of fact, when babies are born, we say they have original sin. They carry that trait, like a genetic trait. The angels come in and they say, yes, you do have this. You do. You have this kind of a defect, quote unquote, in you. But we're here to guide you. What you just have to do is open up to us. Okay? Now, let me get another question here. Oops. Kathy wants to know if the angels can talk through your mind to mentally dialogue with you to keep you safe or not keep you safe. Tricky question, Miss Kathy, so please listen. If you have a car that runs out of gas and you have a problem and you don't feel safe because you're stranded without gas, you went through a physical experience, right? It's caused great stress and great anxiety. Anxiety, worry, right? Oh my God, I'm lost. I have no gas. I have no car. What am I going to do, right? But through that experience, you gain the wisdom not to do that again, right? I'm not doing that again. Next time I leave the house, I'm having a full tank. And the lesson has been learned, correct? So the angels and the spiritual guides often allow us to fall, not to see us get hurt. There's no pleasure in watching the hurt. But what they do recognize is the necessity to you to go through the wound in order to receive the light. Every time there is a cut in your soul, like that, light enters and it purifies it. Some people call it a living baptism. We are constantly being rebaptized by the breath, by the light, and by the wings of the angels. Constantly. But if you're pushing them away, if you're denying their presence, if you're refusing to listen, if you're refusing to meditate, if you're refusing to open, then they remain just a theory, a concept, and for many people, just a bunch of hogwash. I get that. I certainly get it. And I'm not here to talk anybody in or out of anything. I'm just explaining with you my own personal experiences, what I know to be absolutely correct based upon my time as a medium and doing this work. The angelics are absolutely real. They are. But they don't come away the way you think they do. That is more the image idea rather than the essence. So let me go to the next question. The question was asked by a friend by the name of Joan. She asks, do human beings ever go over to the other side and become an angel? I can't answer that completely. I've never been over to the other side. I don't know what it's like in the heavenly gates. I haven't been up there. I haven't been there. I haven't entered that space. And I'm saying this with tongue in cheek because it's not some place you go. It is something that you experience on the most intimate level of your soul. When you completely awaken, when you wake up, you see every angel, you see every guide, you see it all. And you know what you see? You see yourself. You come back to the core and you begin to realize that you yourself are the essence of an angel itself. You are. You are. You make a, no, you are. You are. The angels that were born, quote unquote, let me restate that question or that comment. Angels were never born. They are a manifestation of the eternal one life. They have always been and will always be. They are a divine expression of what I said earlier is God's grace. Grace meaning a gift, the gift of life. They are the constant guardians of life itself. And they do understand that in all human phenomena, all animal phenomena, all rock phenomena, all water and birds and everything phenomena, that there's a constant shifting necessary. It's constant, it's constant, it's constant, it's constant. It is only because human beings resist that constant flow that we're seeking the angels to interfere for us. We want them to do for us what we think we cannot do for ourselves. That's the whole idea, and we become, quote, dependent on them. The angels do not want dependency. They want you to come to see clearly the peace and the grace that is within you. That is what drives them. And if it means you got to break your leg, if it means you got to lose your house, if it means you got to unfortunately get arrested or something like that, so be it. So be it. That is the movement of your consciousness, and the angels are like this, waiting for you, saying, have you learned this one? Have you learned this one? Have you learned this one? And ultimately, when your physical death comes, even if you're struggling, they will receive you and say, have you had enough? Have you had enough? Come home to us, and we will help guide your soul. That is the work of the angels. Whether or not some people, people are telling me the angels are, they're mowing lawns, and this angel is a doctor, and this angel's this, and this angel's that. If it makes you feel comfortable, certainly please do it. Please do it. Look, the earth has water all over it, right? It does. We're surrounded by oceans and seas and lakes and ponds, correct? In order to navigate that, we had to give them names. The ocean doesn't have a name. We make a name for the ocean because it helps us. The ocean doesn't have a name. The ocean was born through the origin of time, right? The sky doesn't have a name, but yet Native Americans and so on call it the angels in the sky or the God in the sky. Because we're trying as human beings to give a connection, to make some kind of, so we're talking on the same page a little bit, right? And you get people that believe that, and you get people that don't believe that, and the ones that do, they form a group, and the people that don't form a group, and they clash. And they're both in separation because it's all coming out of their noodle. It's not coming out of their essence. So please remember what I said before. There is angel images, which are the idea of angels in books, on computers, by other people, what people are telling you, what people tell you they look like. Right? Look, if you have never been in love with somebody, and someone says, listen, I want you to go home and read a book. This book, it's called How to Be in Love with Somebody. You read it tonight. Do you think you're going to wake up tomorrow morning, walk out the front door, and fall in love with somebody? I don't think so. You may have a little more knowledge about some approaches, but you're not going to just fall in love like that, right? You can't learn to love through a book. Love comes as a direct experience, and true love comes through the enlightenment process, which you yourself realize how loved you truly are. Oh my Lord, if you only knew how truly loved you are, right? So the angels are the same way. They're the same way. They're not coming through ideas and cartoon images and beautiful drawings. It's very attractive. It's very nice. It's very comforting. Picture of an angel over a baby's bed. It's all beautiful stuff. Don't misunderstand me. I have it myself. We do. But I understand it's an image, and I understand it just triggers a certain emotional affection for the concept and the idea. When I really want to have contact with my angelic realms, when I really want to have contact with my father, my mother, and so on and so on and so on, it is through going into silence. When you enter into silence, when your breathing is still, when everything is quiet, the same thing happens when I do my work as a medium. It floods my soul. It floods my soul. I can receive and I can interpret. It's the same within you. I am not special. I am not unique. I had an opening that occurred when I was 47 years old, some 20 years ago. And it allowed me to help people who have terrible grief, and I'm privileged and always honored and very humbled that this has happened to me. I tell people all the time in public, it's got nothing to do with me. It doesn't. I'm just a dad. I mean, come on, I'm just a pop. I'm the guy, right? I'm just a regular guy. But for some reason, something opened up within me. Whether you call it God's grace, which is what I call it. Did the angels influence it? Is it possible? Sure. I can't tell you definitely. But I do know that when I do my work, I see things that I never thought in a million years were possible in my universe. Not in a million years that I ever believed that this would be happening. And I'm telling you, it's the same thing with the angels. You don't have to believe when I'm telling you. You don't have to believe in angels. You don't. You don't have to believe in air either, but it's here. And you don't have to believe in sunshine, but that is also here. The angels are real. The angels are around us. They move and flow as they move. They are an expression. They are the chariots of God, if you like that word. They absolutely radiate, and they help us all the time. Okay, we're coming up towards the end of this great night. I've taken some really nice questions. I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. We're kind of coming to the end of it. I want to make just a couple of statements to you guys and help you out a little bit. I want you to, where people often try to figure out where to get a hold of me, people try to get a hold of me. I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook Live, as you're witnessing with me now. I'm on it all the time. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on YouTube. I have public appearances. We have public work. If you can't get to me, if you're out of the Long Island area, which is where I come from the South Shore of Long Island. Long Island is my home. I love it here. My family's been raised here. You know, as I've shared before, I come out of Brooklyn originally. We came out to Long Island when I was a little boy, and it's my home. The smell of salt there, the beach, the oceans, that's us. You know, that's who we are. And we're Long Islanders here. But if you're coming from Montana, California, Florida, Wyoming, wherever you're joining us, thank you so much. If you'd like to have a session with me, whether it be like this, which is perfectly fine, or if you'd like something a little bit more close up front, we have different groups. All you have to do is go to my website, and you can join a part of a group. We have groups up to 6 people. We have what's called a Circle of Spirit. We have the names. It's called Circle of Spirit. So if you go to the website, you look up Circle of Spirit, and we have that. Excuse me just one second. My website is robertehansen.com. I'm sorry, I neglected to mention that. I thought you guys knew that. My apologies. robertehansen.com is my website. You can go there, and it's Circle of Spirits. That is part of it. If you'd like to join a group of 6, you can do that. If you're local, you can come to my office. I can arrange phone readings, all of that. I don't want to turn this into a commercial, but it's important because people try to get a hold of me. They don't know where to get a hold of me, so I'm trying to help you out. Okay, I always try to help people. It's what my passion is about, to bring some comfort to folks that are struggling. I know a lot of you tuned in tonight, not just to have a guy like me, I hope you didn't, just to reinforce what you believe, right? Or what you want to hope is true. If that's why you're here, I guess I'm helping you on some level, I get it. But what I really want you to have is the direct experience. Let me share this last little bit. It's a very quick story, but I think it might help you. Okay? Let me share it. There's a guy by the name of John who is an expert on cultivating oranges. Beautiful oranges, right? Orange juice, orange stuff. And he can tell you how to make them. He can tell you where to plant them. He can tell you the kind of fertilizer. He can tell you the kind of seeds. He can tell you the climate. This guy can tell you anything you want to know. He's Mr. Tropicana, this guy. He has the expert's handle on oranges from top to bottom. However, the only thing that he's never done is tasted an orange. The other guy knows nothing about this stuff. He doesn't know how to plant them. He doesn't have the seeds. He doesn't know where to grow them. He could care less. But he knows when he takes a bite of a real orange, and he knows how delicious it is, right? He knows how delicious it can be. Who's the real expert? The guy with the experience or the guy with the book knowledge? The guy that has tasted it, or the guy that simply tells people and grows it himself? For me, the true expert is the person that has had the direct experience. And when that guy takes a bite out of that orange, he doesn't need to believe he likes it. He knows it in his gut. It is absolutely legitimate. Sadly for the other guy, he can talk about it, he can explain it, he can do lectures about it, he can put it into books, he can put it on the computer, he can stand up like I am right now and do a whole big lecture and a whole big speech. What does it mean to you on a personal level? It's just a bunch of words being repeated. That's all it is. And trying to convince oneself that it's an authentic experience. You cannot get to the angels that way. The angels come by a surrender, not by a demand. I'll say that again. They come through surrender, not by demand. And what are you surrendering? You're surrendering your willful thinking and your willful emotions to get what you want or to get rid of what you don't want. That is not the purpose of the angels. The purpose of the angels is to carry your soul to glory, to carry your soul to bliss, to carry your soul to enlightenment. I wrote it just the other day on the Facebook page. Let your angels live among us. They live among us. Let them do their work. Stop getting in their way. And if you allow this to happen, if you just, I'll use the word trust in them. I'll keep that kind of a boxed word, trust in them, because it also implies you don't trust in them, right? But when you have, I don't trust that I love my kids. I know I love my kids, right? When you don't have to trust in the angels. When you have that direct experience, like the orange guy, there's no more faith, there's no more trust, there's no more belief. It becomes a true experience. And when you have that real experience, you don't got to convince yourself. You don't got to tell other people. You don't have to stand on a pulpit and try to talk other people into it. You don't have to wear brocades. You don't have to walk out with outfits. You don't have to stick anything in your head. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All of the rituals around the angelics, all of that stuff is the movement of human thought. And it just manifests itself in a physical phenomena to make one feel they're more connected. If you want to get connected, friends, if you really want to get connected, learn to sit in silence, learn to go deep. That is the journey. Learn to stay present in the moment that the angels are in, which is right here, right now. If you try to look for an angel's face, if you try to look for a spirit guide's face, if you try to imagine how big they are, that is the word, imagine. Imagination comes out of the dream state, out of the fantasy state, out of the fabrication states. We are not here to play with your imagination. There's enough of that, right? Enough. I want you to have the direct experience. It'll change everything in your life. You will wake up and you will have a sense of peace. Like the great St. Paul said, you will have a peace beyond all understanding. You won't even be able to explain it. You'll just say, on some level internally, everything is well under the heavens. It is all fine. There is energy around me, which we call the angels. That's the name we're choosing to give them. Like we call the Atlantic Ocean, we call this energy field of divine love and light angelic. That's all it is. We call the Pacific Ocean the Pacific Ocean. Other people we call divine healers. And on and on and on. It's cultural, it's taught, it's conditioned, all of that stuff. Right? But when you get past that and just say, I'm going into the ocean and not naming it, it takes on a different feel. What if you were to step into this body of water with all its fish and salt and waves and all that, and you don't call it water and you don't call it an ocean? You just go in it with no name. Imagine that experience. Right? Imagine looking at your child and not looking at that child as Charles, and just drop the name, drop the gender, boy, male, female. Just say, I'm looking at this radiant life form sleeping in a crib. How beautiful. How beautiful. This beautiful life form is just laying there, breathing gently like this. Then we say, oh, there's an angel present. You know what? You're right. Because there's an innocence, a radiance within that child that is angelic in its expression. Not an angel, angelic. So when people say respectfully, when people have lost children, they say God needs a new angel. It's a compassionate, loving, genuine, generous comment, right? It is. It means they mean well. But sometimes those parents will say, listen, God took my angel. He didn't take your angel. So please don't give me the angel stuff, you know. But what they're trying to tell you is the level of light and beauty within your child is what they're trying to point to. And the divine has called home that who it loves. And that includes you. You're going to get called home too. You're going to return back to those who you love. You're never going to be without them. They are always around you. They always are staying with you. And your angel guides bring them to you if you would only allow it to happen. And to allow it to happen is simply, it is so simple. Just strip yourself mentally and emotionally of all attachments to your ideas. Try to put them aside for a little while. Just try it. If it doesn't seem to sit with you, then you can go back and look at the pictures on the wall, and you can be the one that is talking about the orange, and there are going to be those wonderful people who bite the orange. They're totally different. I want you guys to take a good bite out of the angel orange, as it were. I want you guys to go there. Okay? Please remember, this is our last Friday night for the season. We are picking this up again on Sunday night, a week from this Sunday. Not this Sunday, a week from this Sunday, May 8th, 7:30. May 8th, 7:30. It's going to be about our moms, about our mothers, a beautiful night. Oh, my apologies. I'm sorry, I had the date wrong. It is Sunday night, May 7th. Forgive me. I made a mistake. I was looking at the wrong calendar. It is Sunday night, May the 7th. My apologies. May 7th. We'll be starting at 7:30 p.m. It's a 7:30 start on Sunday night, May 7th. It's regarding the moms. As you guys know, I just lost my mom. We'll be talking about mothers, the connection to mothers, the incredible soul level of a mother. I bet you most of you don't know about that part of it. I'm not just talking loving your mother. There's a much deeper realm. How your mother selected you, how you selected your mother. All of that will be brought out. Okay, so on behalf of the angels, on behalf of the guides, the divine healers, I want to thank you all so very much for being here tonight. When you say your prayers tonight, and in whatever way you may do that, be calm, be quiet, look around. You are being guided and protected always. There's nothing to worry about, my friends. Everything is perfect. Please, go to bed and rest your hearts. It's all well under the heavens. Namaste. Thank you.